Seriously guys, how do you feel about the Dragonflight pre-patch and Dragonflight in general? I've recently noticed a drop in the player base of World of Warcraft, and a lot of people are back to the New World remastered, whatever you would call it. But yeah, apparently New World is now super good and popular again, and a lot of people moved over there. Like even on my Discord, all the people that my friends who are playing World of Warcraft are now always playing New World. So yeah, maybe that's the quiet before the storm, before Dragonflight. I hope so. If not, then it's not looking good for World of Warcraft, unfortunately. I really hope Dragonflight can change things and also do something about the population decrease. But yeah, let's see what Nixxiom has to say.
Guys, World of Warcraft's pre-patches have a long history of epic battles and crazy events and grand lore moments and these amazing rewards, and it just all hypes up their respective expansions. But Dragonflight's pre-patch is a little... Let's talk about that today. Something seems to be going wrong here. But before we really get into talking about Dragonflight, I just want to set the stage here by talking about the history of pre-expansion events. So let's just take a quick little dive back into the past real fast. Going all the way back to the beginning, the first pre-patch event before a new expansion came out was the Humble Dark Portal Invasion for the Burning Crusade. And this added powerful world bosses like Fire Lord Cruel, demons to fight in the Blasted Lands, and even...
That was the same with like Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Like before it launched, we had this freaking zombie sort of event, and if you went, for example, to Stormwind, and I play on Classic on Alliance and on Retail on Horde, and yeah, like there were like so many freaking ghouls running around in Stormwind and stuff, and I thought this event was actually kind of cool. I liked it actually. And yeah, by the way guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. But yeah, what do you think about those pre-patch events? Do you guys like them? And for those of you that play WoW Classic, how did you guys feel about the zombie event? I think it was really fun.
Even a special tabard with a light effect, which is awesome. I love this thing. And you know, people liked this event. It was simple, it was fun, it introduced the idea of demons invading Azeroth, and so Blizzard wanted to up the ante with Wrath of the Lich King. So with Blizzard's next pre-patch before the release of its second expansion,
they're hitting the nail with the theme always.
The extra mile, maybe a little too much. And this was the Wrath of the Lich King Scourge Invasion and Undead Plague, and these were massive world events. Thousands of corpses littering the streets of capital cities.
So
they
cool.
even added some of the most legendary items in World of Warcraft into the game during this time. The Undead Slayer's battle gear, the Tabard of the Argent Dawn, and the most famous and sought after of them all, the Arcanite Ripper. You guys,
this is so cool.
And if you're unfamiliar with how things went with the Wrath of the Lich King Classic pre-patch, it was a little chaotic. You can check out some of our previous videos on the subject.
One thing confused me, why people were so upset about. Like, my assumption is that there were like some more casual players, and they hated actually going to cities, and they can't freaking be left alone because they were constantly attacked by those ghouls. Maybe like they felt like they were forced to actually take part in this or something. Maybe that was why, probably. But yeah.
Anyway, in Mists of Pandaria's pre-patch, we were given the massive lore event and quest line.
They had to cancel this event,
a mana bomb on Theramore.
Even though it was already going on.
The most consequential events in WoW's storyline, leading to a lot of the lore that we have today, both good and bad. Then we had Warlords of Draenor, and this had some big shoes to fill. But it was one of the most hyped up expansions, and its pre-patch saw the fastest
especially for Ox fans
players in WoW's history. Fun fact, if you didn't know that. Shooting to over 10 million players within only the first few months.
It's crazy.
A record, which still stands to this day. WoD's pre-patch was reminiscent.
But here we can see this. This is like kind of like the lifeline almost of freaking WoW. So yeah, we have OG World of Warcraft. Like it's a new game. Like it's a new genre for most of the people, because a lot of people came from Warcraft 3, right? So it was not super popular. Then we got Burning Crusade. Like you had like a lot of people already play World of Warcraft. They would tell their friends and colleagues and classmates, whoever, even their freaking parents, like, hey, try out World of Warcraft. So like new players were brought in with this expansion, and there was like some advertisement going on, right? And then at the end of Burning Crusade, a big announcement came. Hey, there will be Wrath of the Lich King. And that's why it peaked here, because I think at the last phase of Burning Crusade, like people actually started it to prepare for Wrath of the Lich King, like the last few months, right? So it was like super popular. And then Wrath of the Lich King, it was super big. And at the end of it, and when Arthas was killed and stuff, and people were hyped about the end, some people were disappointed because, just like me, there were actually some people that wanted to save Arthas, and we thought we just break the sword and he's free and he can repent, or he will maybe go to jail or something, but it didn't happen. But yeah, and then Cataclysm. At the beginning of it, it was all new, people were hyped and excited, but then maybe the story was not so interesting or something, so it went down a bit. And most people played anyway for the ending of Warcraft 3, right? They want to know what happens now with Arthas. So yeah, it went down. However, Cataclysm, if you look at the numbers, even if this was like the case here, it's still very popular, right? I think like those 3 expansions, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, and Cataclysm, this was like the super hype. Like this was the biggest of freaking WoW. Like those 3 expansions, they were the crown of WoW, you could say. And then Mists of Pandaria, like I think like a lot of people didn't like really the idea of going to some Pandaria lands and stuff. Maybe they thought the story was also not interesting, and the new things they added besides the monk were maybe not interesting enough, or the game was probably aged a bit, because there were like other MMOs coming out at this time too, right? So yeah, that's how WoW sort of started declining in player base.
Few months, a record which still stands to this day. WoD's pre-patch was reminiscent of TBC. The Dark Portal turned blood red, the Iron Horde was pouring through into the Blasted Lands, Upper Blackrock Spire was brought to max level, and the long-awaited HD character models were released to the game.
That's good, finally, actually. The old models looked horrible.
And cities holding signs and calling out the end of the world. Most of all, just being in a capital city gave you a chance of being possessed by a demon and turning into a mini world boss rampaging across Stormwind and Orgrimmar.
That's fun. I like that.
Your own faction and your friends. You could even turn other players to the Burning Legion's grasp. So, that was a mouthful. There was a lot to say, but it just establishing kind of the feel of what we've been building up to. Now we have Dragonflight's pre-patch. That's what's coming out on the horizon. And it's a little disappointing, I admit, just given some fair criticism here. Let's talk.
I actually love this MMOs when this happens. And this happened also in Elder Scrolls Online during, was it like the Halloween event when I returned? So in Elder Scrolls Online, there's like this PvP zone called Zero Deal. And if you go there, you can like capture keeps of the other faction. There are 3 factions. And you use like siege weapons to actually break the doors and walls, so you can enter the castles and the keeps, and you can have their PvP and destroy the last door to get to the building, right? And then you can just turn the flags, and if you turn the flags, this is your keep, but then you have to repair the doors and the walls. And it's actually an interesting PvP model. I actually like that in Elder Scrolls Online. And there was like this, there were like there was like trolling going on. Like the devs, they did something funny. So they went to the keeps and they put their randomly siege weapons all around. You had like freaking 20, 30 catapults and siege weapons and everything around. I even took a freaking picture of that. And I like this kind of random events and stuff if the devs like they added suddenly to the game to surprise us players. Or like those events in World of Warcraft like Nixxiom has just shown. I think it's crazy fun to give players some surprise, because you log in and you randomly see something. If they don't announce it, it's even better. I like the kind of blind surprises that you don't expect. Like you go to a place and maybe there's like a giant egg, or like in Elder Scrolls Online those siege weapons, and nobody had any clue this would happen. Like I love this so much in MMOs, the randomness. Like I love randomness in games in general. This is why I loved so much playing freaking Skyrim, for example, because there's randomness going on.
Talk about that today. So you're probably thinking, after all those patches that I just talked about, Blizzard was probably going to put something really big effort into the pre-patch for this new expansion. Surely we would be getting some sort of big, amazing event for Dragonflight, especially after the failures of Shadowlands, right? Well,
yeah.
I wish I could tell you that, but sadly, that's not the case. So far, the only information that we have about Dragonflight's pre-patch is that it will be releasing the updated classes, the UI changes, the new talent trees, some new achievements. And
I like the new UI actually.
Race and class combo, and that'll become available to play. Some of this stuff is already available, like the new talent trees. You guys have already been playing with them, I guarantee it. And the thing is,
I've been testing it a bit.
This is something that every single pre-patch has done, you know, giving us these talent reworks and like little teasers into, you know, the upcoming class or something. So this is nothing new. So what else do we got?
Even the new animations are sometimes good. Like I remember back in the day how they like reworked the skills of the warlock, for example, and they gave them like a flashier look and stuff. I feel like a lot of people actually enjoyed this. They were like, "Oh wow, finally we have something even more flashy." Like it was cool actually when they reworked some of the skills and make them look more modern.
Well, the only other thing that's coming with this pre-patch that we're aware of is that there's going to be this limited time pre-patch event for Dragonflight, and it's what Blizzard is
Those
calling
portals.
Primal Storm invasions. Now, these are static invasions taking place in 4 zones across Azeroth that will drop a transmog set. Now, granted, these sets do look
Oh,
awesome. I mean, just
that
look at
one
these
looks
warrior
nice actually.
plates
Oh,
and
this
things,
one.
looks
I want this
fantastic,
one.
But it is kind of disappointing
Even the Pope
given
approves.
the amazing events that we've seen in the past. I mean, hell, even zone invasions in previous expansions, like the Wrath of the Lich King one with the necropolises and stuff, they've
Yeah.
been better, including quests and different zones
fun.
for each invasion and more items to obtain than we're getting in the Primal Storms. Even, you know, you have the Scourge zombie invasion event to go along with the zone invasions. I mean, come on, Blizzard, like, what's your excuse here? And that leads me to talking about why there is no excuse. Now, at this point, you might be saying to yourself, well, Blizzard has been on decline for a while now. I really don't expect them to be pulling out all the stops for a pre-patch anymore. And yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but at the same time, I mean, if you're trying to bring back your game, that is not the kind of mentality that you want to have. You don't want to be cut.
Guys, there's something that just crossed my mind right now. I thought about it like in the past, but I forgot to actually talk about this, and I want to talk about this with you now. Do you guys also think sometimes that certain games, those that age, like same with like World of Warcraft, that sometimes the developers that are in the team, they get actually tired of their own game and they wish they could work on like a new game or something? Like what if there's like this one game that you worked on, you had a passion or like for like many years, and then you did like the first expansions and stuff, but then after like maybe 5 or 6 years, you as an employee, you wish you'd be put into another project, like maybe a MMO that takes place in, let's say, space or something, or with like not orcs, but with freaking, I don't know, trolls, goblins or something in another universe that's not World of Warcraft. Or what about like shooting games or something? Like I'm sometimes wondering if their team internally ever get like tired of the game that they're developing, and if they wish actually for a change and a new project given by their company. Like I think that could also lead sometimes to a decline of like effort or certain things that are added to the game that is not like that's not appealing like really to players. Because what if you get burnt out by your job because you have been doing it for so many years and you wish you could work on a new project, but you currently can't, so you stay in the team. Like this is also an issue. And then if you bring in new people, maybe they have a different vision or a different goal for a game, and it's no longer the main goal that was there back in the day. Like I feel like this is really tough for games to maintain over the years, especially internally. I think so.
Cutting corners. So let's talk about that for a second. In the BFA pre-expansion event, it started 4 months before release with the Silithus event in the quest line where we discovered and battled over the newly formed Azerite. We even got a new battleground, the first new battleground since Mists of Pandaria, the Seething Shore. A completely new type of battleground where you collect and fight over resources spread across the map. We then got a massive world PvP zone in Dark Shore.
There were some
where we
cool
fought
drops
tooth
too.
and nail for Teldrassil. This event showcased the brand new World PvP features and War Mode system that would be added in BFA. The first time in WoW's history that Blizzard actually added rewards and incentives for World PvP, and it was glorious.
And cool
After
mounts.
Darkshore, we got the massive Battle for Lordaeron scenario where Alliance marched on the Undercity to avenge the burning of Teldrassil. Then
Yeah.
in Shadowlands, we were given the Death Rising event. The Undead Plague and Scourge invasions were back, straight from Wrath of the Lich King. Once again, you could become an undead and slaughter your friends and allies in the streets
Yeah.
of your capital city.
I think it was fun.
41 new quests were added, along with 2 cinematics to accompany them. Nathanos Blightcaller was even made a world boss for these events, and it was just awesome. Ice Crown was brought back to life with 20 resurrected bosses and rares from Wrath of the Lich King that dropped max level items and Argent commendations.
That's good
to
because you
convert
can
it
prepare
max
for the
level gear.
expansion.
The zone itself was filled with bonfires that would give you buffs and remove a
That's the same right now with the giant there. There's now some event, right, where if you kill this giant robot, you get also like item level pieces of, I think it's 272 I went on some of my alts and I got like already 2 or 3 pieces, and I immediately went up to item level 240 plus, and I was just like 220 item level or something. So I went up by like 20 item levels or so by getting like 2 or 3 pieces and stuff. Like, it's crazy.
A constant zone-wide debuff from the Frozen Winds. NPCs and racial leaders were given new dialogue, further immersing the player in the event. Here's what I'm trying to say, guys. All these previous pre-expansion events were big in scale, with new quests and dialogue and lore moments, cinematics, and so much stuff. And it just seems like the Dragonflight pre-patch is a little bit disappointing. At least in my opinion. I don't know about you guys, but that's just how I feel, having logged in and been playing.
Could also be because it's a habit now. People expect
awesome.
more, maybe.
Yes, I appreciate the UI changes. And yes, I appreciate the fact that we're on the precipice of this new expansion. Lots of people are excited. I'm excited. You know, that's cool.
I think those chapters are really good, like the Dragonflight Legacies chapters. We also reacted to those 3 on this channel, so if you are curious on my take on this, what I think about like the chapters, I think they're really well put together, and they also inform like new players of a lot of the lore of what was going on, also with like Deathwing and stuff, and it really goes back to the Cataclysm era, what is really cool.
But I just wish that there was a bit more going on here, you know, in this pre-patch event for Dragonflight, especially after all the crap that happened in Shadowlands. This is Blizzard's opportunity to turn over a new leaf, and it's just, I feel like they could have done a lot more. All of this is to say, despite Blizzard
they don't have the time, maybe,
more, finally showing
resources,
change,
I don't know,
taking baby steps to improve the game. All I'm really getting at is I don't think there's an excuse for having such a lackluster pre-patch as this. After almost 2 decades of all these amazing events that I've been talking
could
about
have been better
throughout this video. I'm sorry that most of this video has been me just talking about previous pre-patch events, but
because
so
they were
much
good
to talk about there, and there's just not a lot to talk about here. And I think that in and of itself illustrates my point perfectly. So, guys, I don't know. What do you all think of the Dragonflight pre-patch event? Do you
it's
think
mediocre.
That it's good? Are you excited for it? Do you think that it's establishing a good tone for Dragonflight? Because I don't know. I just think it's a little simple. I am looking forward to playing the Drak Theer, I admit, flying around.
Yeah, I want to level one up.
I mean, Primal Invasions, getting some transmogs, that'll be fun, but I don't know. Blizzard, I feel like you got a little lazy. You want my honest, fair, said with love criticism? I think this is a little lackluster, and you could have done a lot better, especially considering how a lot of people are becoming more hyped for World of Warcraft as Dragonflight gets closer. So I think you could have done a lot more, but I guess we'll see if Blizzard put a lot of their focus more onto the expansion in the Dragon Isles as opposed to the pre-patch for the Dragon Isles. Guess we'll find out. And you know, the best part about Dragonflight is that Dragonflight is already making a lot of changes that I think are going to really bring back a lot of the player base and really make people fall in love with this expansion.
And the story is way better.
Check out this video right here. Dragonflight is already winning where Shadowlands failed. This is a rant on why Shadowlands storytelling failed so hard and why it failed to connect.
They made it too complex.
And why the Dragonflight storyline,
despite
being so simple, is connecting with people in a way that I don't think Blizzard expected.
That's true. Because, like, let me give this one a thumbs up. This was a really good video. Because if you make a story too complicated and stuff, like, people cannot even immerse themselves into it. Like, you're questing through a zone and you have no clue what the heck is happening in the zone. Why are you doing this? Why you have to kill this guy? Like, a lot of people never understood why the jailer was evil or why we had to fight against him or what this guy actually really wanted and stuff. Like, I don't know. It was like, you had to freaking have a master's degree in freaking World of Warcraft lore, even doctor degree, to understand what the heck was going on with the Shadowlands lore and stuff. Like, I'm myself a lore guy. I love, like, fantasy and stuff in, be it games or movies. Like, I'm a huge The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings fans. I even have freaking books here and stuff. Like, same with, like, Harry Potter. I'm a Harry Potter nerd. Like, I love good story, good fantasy and stuff, and there's so many nice fantasy universes and stuff. And I feel like World of Warcraft has also like a lot of storytelling potential, but it needs to go into the right direction, and the right direction is a simple direction. If they make things too complicated, or how they actually ruin the afterlife of people's thoughts and fantasies. Like, my fantasy of the afterlife in World of Warcraft was like way more complex. I thought there was like maybe some heaven and hell or something, like how some people believe in real life and stuff, right? I thought it's like it's more mysterious, and you actually turn not into like a physical being, but maybe like some ghost being, and then you get to some area, and then you go to another. Like I had a different imagination of the afterlife. So with Shadowlands, like my dream and fantasy was just destroyed literally about the afterlife. But and how you can actually die again in the afterlife, this was something, it hurt my brain cells. It was weird. But yeah, I think they could have also done better with the pre-patch. It's nice that we do get like already everything, like the new talent system, the new UI. I think the UI looks nice. And how we get to close, I think we have to close those portals, right, that spawn everywhere on Azeroth for the event, right? Yeah, I think this is really cool. And what I'm very looking forward to is to level up a Dracthia. I think the Dracthia is very interesting. I've already seen it in the beta and people showcased it, and I really want to grind one up. And either I would do it on stream, maybe on Twitch, or I will do it in private and just speed through. Let's see about that. I could also start a series, but then each couple of days I can only get to play it. I don't want to do it. I want to play my Dracthia like every day, so maybe there's not gonna be a series. But yeah, let's see. Let me know in the comment section what you guys want to see. And yeah, what's your thought on the Dragonflight pre-patch and Dragonflight in general? What I think Blizzard needs to be very careful with in the future. There's now a new world, and it's taking a lot of WoW players away. I've seen this on Discord, because on Discord you always see what the people are playing, right? And a lot of constantly playing World of Warcraft players are moving over to New World. I see on Twitch it's beating now World of Warcraft in viewership numbers and stuff. And there's Ashes of Creation still. There are still other MMOs that are constantly dropping expansions like Elder Scrolls Online. There's Blue Protocol coming now. They're already translating it to English, so maybe some people will move over to Blue Protocol. We don't know what Final Fantasy XIV will do, but yeah, Blizzard, be careful. There's a competition out there, so deliver please good content so people stay, because nobody wants to see their favorite MMO die, right? But yeah, guys, that's it for today's episode. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. This will help out with the algorithm. And I wish everyone a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time.